Your 20s are weird. One moment you're grinding at the gym, stacking cash and feeling like you're leveling up. The next you're standing in your kitchen at 9 PM eating plain chicken breast, wondering if this is all life has to offer. No one hands you a roadmap for this decade, and most people around you are just figuring things out as they go. I made some solid choices in my 20s, but I've also made mistakes that slowed me down. So today I want to share 6 mistakes you should avoid if you want to come out of this decade ahead. Mistake number 1. Over-planning instead of taking action. I used to think I needed the perfect plan before starting anything. I'd research for weeks before even taking step 1. But the truth is, planning feels productive, but in reality it just becomes another form of procrastination. Neosphere is my 5th YouTube channel, and what's really interesting is that the first YouTube channel I started, which was my guitar cover channel, actually grew to around 500 subscribers. And there I didn't plan anything, I just kind of uploaded the guitar songs that I wanted to upload. And then at some point years later, after I'd stopped the guitar cover channel, I took a YouTube course and I planned out this self-improvement channel, how I'd do the branding, how I'd do the perfect thumbnails, how I'd have all the right gear. But honestly, none of that mattered. It really didn't grow much. The only thing that actually moved the needle was posting the videos and improving as I went, which is exactly the strategy I'm applying here with Neosphere. I don't have the perfect videos, the perfect answers, all the video ideas. I just kind of make the videos and improve a little bit as I go along. If you're hesitating to start something, whether it's lifting, a side hustle, or making content, I actually have a challenge for you. If you want to get into lifting, go ahead and sign up for a gym today. If you want to start a side hustle, just do one action on that today. If you want to get into coding, go on Code Academy and write your first line of code. Or if you want to make content, record your first video today. The first attempt will suck, but you'll be miles ahead of the guy that's still planning 6 months from now. Mistake number 2 is treating money like an afterthought. When I was younger, I didn't care much about money. I had decent savings, but I wasn't actively thinking about investments or financial freedom. My mindset was that dating is the most important thing and becoming better socially and having experiences is what matters. So I thought I'll figure it out later. At some point I realized that waiting to take finances seriously is like waiting until you're injured to start stretching. The damage is already done. Once I shifted to thinking about long-term wealth, everything changed. Now I prioritize investments, I save strategically, and I think beyond just making ends meet. If you're in your 20s and you're not thinking about money yet, I highly recommend starting as soon as possible. You want to learn how investing works, how to budget and save money, and how to avoid blowing every paycheck just because you can. A little knowledge here goes a very long way. Mistake number 3 is chasing the wrong relationships. In my early 20s, I thought I had to figure out dating ASAP. I felt behind, like I needed to get this in order to be on track. And that led me to a lot of experiences and a lot of dates with women I didn't really care about. And looking back, I think I spent too much time trying to improve my dating life. The constant trying to get better pictures for my dating app, constantly trying to improve my social skills and improve my quote-unquote game. Sure, it all helps. But honestly, if I'd built myself up instead, then all those things that I tried to learn back then, they would have come to me way easier later on. But back then, I really felt that I needed to fix this in order to fill the gap. Because I didn't really love myself and I didn't accept myself the way I were. So I felt like that was the only way to fill the gap. But if you learn from my mistakes, I think your 20s as a man are for building your foundation. If you meet someone and they add to your life, that's great. Don't throw that relationship away. But also, don't make the mistake of structuring your future around a person who may not even be here in 5 years. Or, in my case, you don't necessarily need to bang a lot of women to love yourself. And mistake number 4. Avoiding risks because of comfort. Comfort is nice, but honestly, it's a bit of a slow killer. I'm sure I'm not the only one that felt that my comfort zone bubble, it really shrunk during the lockdown back in 2020. My social skills that I'd worked a lot on, as I previously mentioned, I felt like they all fizzled away during the lockdown. Which of course isn't true, but if you're not pushing your comfort zone, that comfort zone bubble just starts shrinking very, very slowly. And you know, I could have easily kept staying in my comfort zone. I got a secure job, a stable routine, I could just keep the same old habits, but every major growth phase in my life, it happened because I took a risk. When you're watching this, I'll most likely just have moved to Copenhagen and quit my job. That's a big risk, because now I only have my savings and my freelance photo shoots to live off. Starting this YouTube channel, that's also a risk. I could be wasting a lot of time for nothing. Going in on a 365 photography project where I didn't have a guaranteed outcome or no guarantee that I'd make money afterwards, that's also a big risk. But you know, every time I stepped into the unknown, I somehow ended up leveling up. If you're in your 20s and everything currently feels safe, you're probably not growing. I actually saw a quote back in 2020 during the lockdown where if you feel like everything's in control, you're just not pushing yourself enough. So do yourself the favor and push yourself into situations where failure is possible, because that's usually where the biggest rewards are. Now, mistake number 5 is thinking that you have more time than you actually do. I remember in my teens and early 20s, it felt like I had forever to figure things out. And then I had a conversation with an older friend of mine who was 29 at the time, and he talked about how time just seems to go by faster and faster as he was approaching his 30s. And then 4 years later, I talked to him when he was 33, and he told me that, oh man, this just gets even worse when you're in your 30s. Time just flies by. I don't even know where the last 4 years have gone. And I've seen people waste their 20s just waiting for the right time to start a project, move cities, or chase their goals. Then they hit 30 and they realize that they never actually started anything. So I'd recommend that you take this seriously. Time is the most important resource you have. So whatever goal you have in the back of your mind, whether it's improving your fitness, career, or starting a new hobby, start today, please. Future you will be eternally grateful that you made that decision and you didn't waste more time. Finally, mistake number 6 is losing yourself in the grind. In my mid-20s, I had weeks where all I did was work, lift, and sleep. It's definitely productive, but at some point, I looked around and realized my life is just a loop. I'm not having fun, I'm actually miserable right now, and I need some sort of balance, otherwise I'm gonna burn out. Yes, hard work is necessary, and yes, grinding is important, but if you don't add any experiences, relationships, and adventure into your life, you'll wake up at 35 wondering where your 20s went. You will have no memories and no good experiences to look back on. Luckily for me, I was a bit extreme in my early 20s where I made a lot of memories, so I look back fondly at those years and have a lot of funny stories to tell from that era. And then I've also managed to build myself up in terms of having an aesthetic body, saving up a lot of money, getting a nice job, building skills that will last me a lifetime. Because I was a bit extreme in my early 20s and then in a complete different way in my mid-20s, now I've definitely found some kind of balance. My girlfriend still tells me that I need to be careful that I don't get lost in the grind because I love to work, I love to grow. My solution here, if you also feel that this is an issue for you, is that you want to try to live with some kind of balance. It's okay if you're mainly working or mainly grinding at some point in your life, but just make sure to add some things that make life richer, that makes this an experience that's really fun and really worth living. This is definitely a very personal reminder to myself that you shouldn't forget to have fun, even on the grind. It actually makes you more productive, and that could be in the form of traveling, seeing friends, or just having new experiences. Take it from someone who loves to grind and loves to work. You don't want to reach success just to realize that you have no memories to go with it. So I now encourage you to reflect over this video and how you can avoid making these mistakes yourself. If you avoid these mistakes, you'll set yourself up for a life that a lot of people would only dream of. I'd love to hear from you guys. What's one mistake you've learned from or avoided in your 20s? Leave it in the comments. And if this video helped, hit like, subscribe, and share it with that one friend who needs to hear this.